Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lissa the Soap Chef. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into my anti-itch dandruff shampoo, and I'm going to break down every ingredient so that you understand exactly why it's in here and what it's doing for your scalp. Let's start off with the actives. These are, after all, the power players. First up, we have salicylic acid, which exfoliates the scalp and helps loosen dry flakes and buildup. Climbazole is an antifungal agent that targets malassezia, one of the main causes of dandruff. And colloidal sulfur is going to help reduce excess oil and calm irritation. It's soothing, clarifying, and keeps that scalp microenvironment balanced. To help all of that stay stable and comfortable on the scalp, I'm going to be using octyl-dodecanol and propanediol 1,3. They act as solvents for our actives, they improve penetration, and they add slip, so the formula feels silky and not harsh. Next up is our conditioning and moisturizing system. Glycerin and hydroxyethylurea are humectants that draw moisture to the scalp, preventing dryness or tightness. Panthenol strengthens and hydrates both your scalp and your hair. Polyquaternium 10 coats the hair shaft for softness and detangling. MSM and zinc gluconate support a healthy scalp barrier and help calm inflammation. Hydrolyzed keratin restores protein to damaged hair cuticles, improving resilience and shine. In the cleansing base, I've chosen a gentle, balanced surfactant blend of cocamidopropylbutane, which adds mild foam and boosts viscosity. Then we have sodium lauryl methyl isethionate, sodium lauryl sarcosinate, and disodium lauryl sulfosuccinate. But all of that is effective without stripping. Very nice for sensitive scalps. To keep the texture just right, xanthan gum adds light viscosity, while liquid Crothix fine-tunes the final thickness and the pearl. PEG7 glyceryl cocoate adds a gentle refatting effect so that the hair feels conditioned after rinsing. So for support ingredients, I'm using disodium EDTA. It chelates minerals so that your actives stay potent. Citric acid and sodium citrate buffer the pH just right where it needs to be for scalp comfort and salicylic acid performance. Then we've got our preservative system, which is phenoxyethanol combined with caprylyl glycol protection that keeps your formula safe and stable. And finally, the aromatic and the therapeutic touch. Tea tree, rosemary, and clary sage essential oils, all chosen for their purifying, cooling, balancing properties while targeting flakes and itch. Every component has a purpose, from scalp renewal to gentle cleansing barrier repair and luxurious texture, all working together to create a shampoo that's effective yet soothing. So come with me over to Creation Station and let's make this together. And let's just get going, shall we? We are going to start off with our octyl-dodecanol. We are combining that with our propanediol 1,3. Once those are combined, we're just going to go ahead and put those into a water bath and heat those up to just below 122 degrees. That is going to help our salicylic acid to dissolve. If you're wondering about this table here, it's not a new table. It's just a silicone mat that I purchased to put on top of my stainless steel table because I got tired of always seeing my ring light reflection on my stainless steel. The mat's working out great. So we took the temperature. We're going to start adding that salicylic acid right now. Okay, let's give this a stir. Just like with anything else, when you're trying to dissolve the salicylic acid, it takes quite a long time, okay? So just be patient, just keep stirring it. In my personal experience, the best solvent for salicylic acid is ethanol. However, like I said in my intro, the octyl-dodecanol is an exceptional solvent for salicylic acid. So just be patient, keep with it. Okay, once that you can see through the mixture here, it's going to be still just a little bit cloudy, but we can move on at this point. There's no more crystals that need to be dissolved in here. We've taken care of all that. So once you can go ahead and see through that, we're going to move on to our next step, which is adding Climbazole. All right, here's the Climbazole. We're going to go ahead and add that next. And give that a good stir as well. After we get done with mixing this portion, I'm going to go ahead and stick that inside. I have an empty vessel here. There's nothing in it, but it is down in the warmed water because we want to keep this solution warm. Not hot, just warm. So there's no water in here. I'm just going to stick this vessel inside of that vessel just to keep it warm because this is going to be added later on. Again, you want to take your time with this part. Make sure that there's no floaties hanging out here. I'm going to put a little piece of tin foil right over the top. And again, I'm just going to stick it right inside of this empty vessel just to keep it warm until we get to that point where we need to add it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pre-wet our colloidal silver. Okay, so I already have the colloidal silver here. And we're going to use our CAPB, our cocamidopropyl betaine, to pre-wet this. And then we're just going to set that aside for later. So I've got my CAPB already measured out into this container. I'm just going to add enough to make a little paste. The consistency I'm looking for is like toothpaste. That clicking you hear is the temperature, the thermostat on the stove here. All right, let's give this a little mix and see where we're at. Scrape the bottom, make sure you get all that dry powder that's hanging out down there. I need a little bit more. Really make sure you scrape that bottom. Get all that dry powder that's on the bottom here. All right, this actually looks pretty good. So we have a nice thick paste, kind of the texture or the thickness rather of toothpaste. If you were to squirt toothpaste out on your toothbrush, it would probably be about that thick. That's what we want. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set this aside till later. Next thing we want to do is hydrate our Polyquat 10. We're going to do that with a little bit of the water portion. So here's the water portion. We're just going to put some in here just to hydrate this. Make a nice little slurry out of it. If it gets to be too thick and pasty, just add a little bit more water. So it's pretty thick right now. I'm going to add a little bit more. All right, that's fantastic. That's a good texture. All right, we're going to set this aside. Everything today is going to be a matter of like pre-wetting, pre-hydrating, and then setting it aside. So the next pre that we're going to do is we're going to take our glycerin and we're going to make a slurry with our xanthan gum soft. All right, let's give that a little stir, make a slurry. And now we're going to set that aside. So far, we've got our salicylic acid portion that also has our Climbazole It has been dissolved in our octyl dodecanol as well as our propanediol. That's sitting off to the side. We also have our paste of our colloidal sulfur. That is sitting off to the side. We have our Polyquat 10 that's hydrating in water. That's sitting off to the side. And now we've got our glycerin and xanthan gum. That's sitting off to the side. Now let's start working on our water portion. We'll bring that beaker over here. We're going to start adding all of those ingredients, starting off with disodium EDTA. That's our chelating agent. Next, we're going to be adding some citric acid because we need this solution to be, lowered. The pH needs to be lowered for the salicylic acid to remain active and stable. So we're going to be adding citric acid. We are also going to be adding sodium citrate, which helps to maintain the pH in case it drifts. That's going to help out with that. Next, we're going to be adding our panthenol. After the panthenol, we're going to be adding zinc gluconate. And we're going to give this a good stir. We're going to get this into the water. All right, I'm going to turn this up just a little bit, not too much, though. I don't need to turn it up too much. I don't want this to get, like hot. And I can touch the bottom of this. You see how clear this is now? The salicylic acid, perfectly clear. And I'm touching this with no problem. You have to be careful with the salicylic acid. We don't want to heat that up per se. I don't need this to be in here for all that long just to dissolve those powders. Once we do get them dissolved, we're going to be adding MSM. Almost done. Doesn't take that long. Okay, our water portion is done. Those powders have been dissolved thoroughly. Completely clear, as you can see. No powders left floating around on the bottom there. So now, let's go ahead and add our MSM. There's our MSM. Once we get all this mixed in, we're going to go ahead and check that pH, and we're going to make adjustments. We want to aim for a 4.8. It's not the final adjustment that we're going to make, but we're going to do that now. I'll do it again in a little while. I've turned my burner all the way down to as low as it will go. Because again, we don't want the salicylic acid. We do not want this to be hot in any way. And it's completely fine. I'm touching the entire thing. It's not burning me at all. It's just keeping it warm. Okay, that MSM is completely dissolved at this point. So now we're going to go ahead and check our pH and make any adjustments that we need to. It's okay if it's going lower than 4.8 because we're going to be adding a whole bunch of surfactants, which is going to raise it some. All right, so we're about 391 right now, if you guys can see that, which is fine. So now we're going to start on our surfactant phase. We're going to go ahead and put, remember the big jar that we had, the cocamidopropylbutane. We're going to go ahead and start warming that up in this water bath. I'm going to turn that up just a little bit. And the reason why we're doing that is because we need to start melting our sodium lauryl methyl isothianate. Right at this point, I am going to go ahead and start adding that SLMI. It's in big chunks, as you can see. And we'll start melting that down. We still have just a couple teeny tiny little small crumblies left. They're just about dissolved. This is the part where you really want to take your time. Conversely, you could just go ahead and take that SLMI and you can grind that up to break up those chunks better than what you saw me have it. It does take quite a long time. If you're working with those big chunks, it takes quite a long time to melt that down. But now that that is done, and you can see I've put my water portion back into the water bath. Just going to take this out momentarily. We're going to put it right back in. But the next surfactant that we're going to be adding, we need our mask for that. And that is going to be, it's called Easy Foam. That's like a trade name that they sell it by. But it is sodium lauryl sarcosinate. I'm going to put my mask on for that. And we're just going to go ahead and dump this whole thing right into the mix. We're going to get back in that water bath. You're going to have a really thick paste now. Real thick paste now. I'm going to get this back into the water bath though. I'm going to go ahead and take this water portion out. All right, at this point we're going to go ahead and start adding our water portion slowly. I can take this mask off now. We're going to start adding our water portion slowly and mixing it around slowly, trying our best not to kick up bubbles, okay? Little at a time. All right, we're going to go ahead and take this off of the heat now. I'm going to switch over now to a whisk. Once you feel like there's no more chunks left, everything is liquid, everything's been combined pretty well, we're going to go ahead and add that glycerin and xanthan gum slurry that we made up earlier. You can see that there is some foam that I kicked up. It's fine. It's inevitable. I always let my products sit overnight anyways, so by tomorrow the foam will be gone. Just give this a good mix. Let that xanthan gum start getting hydrated now. And then we're going to check our pH one more time. Make any adjustments necessary. You can see the pH has gone up. We're at about 5.6 right now. We want to bring that down to about 4.8 to 5 at the most. So we're going to make some adjustments using our citric acid solution. So we are sitting at about 4.96. So that's good enough for me. We can start adding the rest of our ingredients. So one of our ingredients that we're adding to the mix is going to be our hydroxyethyl urea. So we're going to add that to the mix. Next, we're going to be adding our refatting agent, which is going to be our PEG7 glyceryl cocoate. After that's all mixed in, remember that polyquat that we set aside earlier? We hydrated that with some water. We're going to go ahead and get that in now. All right, after we have that polyquat in here and all mixed in, remember that sulfur that we set aside earlier, we're going to put that in now. Nice and thick paste, just like toothpaste. Just scraping the rest that's in this container. Going to add that to the mix. Want to get every little bit of this. This is the star ingredient, after all, for an anti-itch dandruff shampoo. All right, let's give this whole thing a mix. All right, next into the pool, we're going to be adding some hydrolyzed keratin. So for my preservative, I'm going to be using phenoxyethanol, and I have combined that with caprylyl glycol, which is a preservative booster. And the last thing we're going to be adding is our fragrance, and I have chosen to add essential oils that are really good for dandruff shampoos. So I have a combination of tea tree, rosemary, and clary sage essential oils. Then we're just going to thicken this up a little bit using some Crothix. You can use salt if you would like to. I find that the Crothix just is more dependable and reliable when it comes to thickening up shampoos or body washes for that matter. But keep in mind also with salt that it will not thicken amphoteric or non-ionic surfactants. We do have one amphoteric surfactant in here, and that is our CAPB. But we also have a non-ionic refatting agent in the PEG7 glyceryl cocoate. So I have not tried to thicken this particular formula using salt. You can if you'd like. Again, like I said, I am going to be using liquid Crothix, starting off at 2%, and you work your way up from that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the 2% now. I'm going to leave this to sit for 24 hours and let it do its thing. That's the best way to approach this. So this, again, is a liquid Crothix. I'm going to be doing this at 2%. All right, let's give that a nice little stir. And again, I am going to leave this overnight, and then I will check back in the morning, and I will make any other viscosity changes that I need with adding more of the Crothix. All right, I'm going to bring you guys back then. Okay, it's the next day, you guys. Look at the viscosity. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So let's get this into our bottle. Let's see, I'll put it here. If you don't want your shampoo this thick, just use less of the Crothix. I like my shampoos to be nice and thick. There we go. Beautiful. There you go. Your anti-itch dandruff shampoo. Let's see how it works. Let's just get a little bit of the shampoo. That much. Really not much at all. Really nice silky lather. It's very, very soft and silky. There you go. There's the lather. Beautiful. It smells very medicinal because of the tea tree and the rosemary, but it's not off-putting, you know what I mean? It's not like gagging medicinal. It actually smells quite nice. They complement each other quite nice. And there you go, you guys. There's your anti-itch dandruff shampoo. And that's it, you guys. Our anti-itch dandruff shampoo is all done and ready to use. We've got an elegant formula here that gently exfoliates, calms irritation, and supports a healthy scalp, all without overstripping your hair. If you've been struggling with flakes, itchiness, or buildup, this formula gives you that salon clean feeling and the comfort of a balanced scalp. I hope you learned a little bit more about how each ingredient plays a part in making this so effective, from the actives like salicylic acid and Climbazole to the soothing humectants, proteins, and conditioning agents that make it luxurious. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss future tutorials. And if you want deeper formulation discussions or access to my behind-the-scenes lab notes, come and join me over on Patreon. I would love to have you as part of the community over there. The full written formula for this product is available over on Patreon at the $10 Formulator Friend tier level for advanced makers. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, thanks for hanging out with me at Creation Station, and I will see you in the next formulation.